After over a week, I'm willing to share my thoughts about the new chapter 32 to Dead by Daylight Dungeons and Dragons. So let's get into it. Honestly, I'm gonna say this: Vecna or Dolich, he whose name that we should never say, is honestly a great killer overall. He's well designed, and he's honestly fun to play as, and even fun to face up against. His biggest problem is his Hand of Vecna, which is honestly strong but with a good cooldown. His Flight of the Damned is actually pretty easy to dodge, not to mention that you can tuck around it with a simple crouch, or even the killers themselves can actually play smart and then just do what they can, just go ahead and use leveling or even position the skeletons to exactly where the survivors are. Esthir and Brumar is also a good solid amount of survivors. It's honestly interesting to see more and more of, well, non-human survivors after a long time. And I don't really want to count Ripley as a non-human. I can accept Gabriel, but I've watched Aliens, so I just don't really accept that. However, while I do like the three characters we got from the chapter, there's one thing that entirely bothers me, and it's the map itself. At first, I didn't really want to complain about it, just thinking it's pointless, until eventually later on, I started to look at it more and I realized this map is huge. Like, unnecessarily huge, with a massive second floor. While it doesn't really seem like a big problem, there's also portals that survivors and killers could go in. Which doesn't sound like a problem, but after a little bit of gameplay, I started to notice how they actually used it for distance and can stall out the killer for quite some time, giving them some breathing room. Which in hindsight is actually just kind of boring. I don't. It's a cool mechanic, but I don't know if it should be abused like that in hindsight. Although it's going to be a map that will stay the same indefinitely. That's my only problem with this chapter. Overall, it's solid, and I do love it. It's a good chapter. Not great, but good.